Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Was a Godly Mage. Remember to hit this one to 300 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Became the God of Wind and enjoy that guys. And I also posted a new episode of What If Naruto Was a OP Seal Master over on Anime King 2. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy as well guys. And stay in tune for What If Naruto got his memory sealed away, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what is we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So the last time we left off, Yamato lost his shit when he saw that Naruto just collapsed, as he was too pissed off to notice and calm himself to realize that Naruto was not dead, as the Kyuubi had to transform into a full state to pin him down in the mindscape because he was producing an abnormal energy that was shaking the entire place in the mindscape. And outside, Naruto's body was also reacting to the energy blowing away everyone that came near him. As the Kyuubi finally calmed him down, as she told him that Naruto is not dead, so they came up with a plan. She was able to force her yokai out, as that caused Yamato to pour his power as well, to be able to make a clone of Naruto which he took control of. As he told them what happened, as Kakashi went over and scanned it with his Sharingan, as he noticed, yes, he was right, as he pulled out the needles, as Naruto took in a breath. Some time passed as Naruto woke up in the mindscape in the bed along with the Kyuubi. As he asked what happened, she informed him what happened. It was then that a man came in there, surprising the both of them, a well-built man. As the man started to fight Naruto, causing Naruto to fight back, as it was Yamato. He finally figured out something. If he was able to change form like the Kyuubi, he could turn into a human, right? As he saw her change form, all he had to do was focus extremely hard, as he was able to give himself a body, well, in the mindscape. As the Kyuubi got pissed because they destroyed their house. When Naruto woke up back in the real world, he was in a room on a futon, as he really needed to use the bathroom. As he went off, going out checking out for the bathroom, as he stepped in the room to see Sakura, just putting on her shirt as she was currently shirtless. There was a split second of silence before she started to scream and threw everything at him. As he ran out and then came back, as he asked her why she's screaming, she's flat anyway. As she threw something breaking on the door. As Naruto went outside, as Kakashi found him. Kakashi wanted to start teach a group, as he told Naruto that Zabuza is not dead, that he escaped. As he didn't really know what to teach Naruto because, well, mostly Naruto powers are unknown to him. But Naruto just asked him to help him with his taijutsu and his speed. As Naruto then informed him about Lee and Guy, when he met them a long time ago, and Guy took him under his wing and trained the both of them. As Kakashi started to help Naruto with his taijutsu. Some time passed as Naruto was alone out in a clearing, as a beautiful girl came there. As the Kyuubi informed Naruto in his head about something, as Naruto started to talk about the girl, as she talked about Precious once and that, as he told her that she didn't have to worry about anything, they dealt with a bandit around here. His name was Zabuza and his team killed him off. The girl eyes Naru just for a bit before she tells Naruto she had to go, as it was Haku, as she started to walk off. But Naruto stopped her. Haku realized that she knew who he is. She froze Naruto from the feet up, stopping right at his waist as she had to escape and go to assist Zabuza-sama. But then, the red energy from Naruto's hand came over the ice and absorbed it. As Naruto raised his hand to stop Haku, as ice fire from his hand, as Haku turned a shocked expression on her face. How did he do that? Meanwhile in the mindscape, Yamato had a vision of some sorts, as he saw a younger Naruto as a baby, a woman with ridiculously large breasts, running her glowing green hands over the baby Naruto, as the red energy came from Naruto's palms, and he absorbed the green energy, and then his hands start to glow green. As Yamato wondered what the hell just happened. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So, what is we begin this new episode? Both Haku and Naruto had a stunned look on their face for two different reasons. Haku's reason being, how was this boy able to use Ice Release, her bloodline of the combination of water and wind? But how could he use it? The only members who could use that was of the Yuki clan, and all of them died a long time ago. She was the only living member. So, who exactly was this boy? As Naruto was confused as hell as well, because he didn't cast any of his spells. He didn't do anything, but yet still he was able to produce ice. Yamato, Kyubey, what the hell just happened? Well, I'm just as shocked as you, Naruto, said Kyubey. I don't know, she said. As Yamato shook his head, something was off there. Didn't you see that? Yamato asked. No, what? Said Naruto. A second ago, I had this strange vision. What do you mean, Yamato? Asked Kyubey. Well, I saw Naruto, Naruto said. Where? As a kid. A kid? Yes. Well, you were a baby, and this strange woman. The only thing I really saw was her chest, and they were ridiculously huge. As the Kyubey and Naruto sweat dropped. Now hear me out guys, he said. Her hands were glowing green, and the similar red energy that produced on my body came from your hands and went around her green glowing hands. And the next thing I know, your hands were glowing green as well. Like you stole her ability or something. Wait, you're telling me that he also has the ability to take other people jutsus? Asked Kyubey. And judging from the green hands that you speak about, I think that is medical healing jutsu. What? Said Naruto. But I never did that before. Well, you never actually tried before, said the Kyubey. As Naruto looked at his hands, Haku saw that he was distracted as she pulled out several senmon needles. She had to incapacitate him quickly as possible to check on Zabuza-sama as she thrust them towards his neck. Seeing that he wouldn't make it in time to stop them, she turned to leave. But the moment she turned around, she felt a gust of wind pass her. The next thing she knew, he was right in front of her. Shocking the hell out of her, she jumped away. You may have got me last time, because I was engulfed with a battle with Zabuza. But trust me, this time that won't work, Naruto said, as he cricked his neck, as he started to hop on his feet. He has never fought to the point where he had to go all out before, after all those intense days of training with Lee and Guy, nearly dying for at least 5 times if it wasn't for Guy saving his life. Naruto's body has adapted to several changes all those years ago, as he was far beyond any other normal genin his age when compared to physical attributes, and also his speed. Looking down at his legs, he was wearing a weight on it, 2 of them on each leg, as these weights were different from most other weights because they were seal inscribed weights. He got them from Tenten, well, her father, a long time ago. Her father Kaido, he was not like most people in the village, he was actually kind to him, as that made Naruto happy when most people didn't see him as the demon fox, but as Naruto. He met Tenten shortly after meeting Lee, and these weights that he's currently wearing, they have no limit on them because they were seal inscribed. They were not like the weights that Lee were wearing, that he had to put weights into and could stop at a few hundred pounds. The farthest Kaido ever said that he heard someone wear these weights were up to 600 pounds each, on each legs. Right now Naruto was wearing at least 150 pounds on each legs. That was 300 pounds. Training since he was 6 years old, he gradually upped the weights and now he was up to 150 each. And he will have to change that soon because they were getting quite light, as he's never showed off his real speed before, not even facing off against Kakashi Sensei, and his real strength. So comparing to Haku, she was not on his level. Haku was amazed and shocked when the boy suddenly blurred away with speed. As Haku narrowed her eyes trying to catch his quick movements, all she could see was blur. As she quickly jumped away as he impacted right in the ground in front of her as she flipped over to a tree. She went through hand signs before slamming her hand on the ground as large spears of ice came out trying to impale him. Naruto flashed his hands twice as they became enveloped in flames. As he reared his fist back, Haku watched in shock as he simply smashed right through her eyes like it was nothing. before shooting himself off the ground as he came at her. She twisted her body around as he swept past her, but he then flipped in mid-air, surprising her as he used the momentum to push himself down and kicked her right in the shoulder, knocking her away as she skidded across the ground. Haku wouldn't believe it, as she could barely keep up with this boy. She thought that she had it in the bag, but it seems like it was a misunderstanding that she caught him off guard the first time, as she doesn't think that she could get back to Zabuza-sama. But if his friends are really there, were you lying to me? She asks, as Naruto narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? That you found the location of Zabuza-sama. Why should I tell you anything? Naruto asks. And yes, we did. And by now I'm sure that Zabuza is already captured, so you might as well just give up before this escalates too further. So tell me, where was he? She said, as Naruto narrowed his eyes. I don't feel like telling you anything right now, just to stop you and capture you. I see, said Haku. So you were lying after all. And how do you know that? Said Naruto. I can see the movements in your face once I asked you that question. It changed ever the slightest when you couldn't come up with a proper answer quickly. So that means at least he's safe. Then the only thing I have to do right now is put my life on the line to make sure that I aim you right here. Haku pulled out a slip of paper as she placed her hand behind her as she used her chakra to make a note in the paper. It was then that she whistled as Naruto narrowed his eyes. A small rabbit then came out of the forest as Haku threw the note straight towards the rabbit. The rabbit went over and placed a note in his mouth. Go, Haku said. And do you really think that I'm going to allow you to escape with that note? Naruto asked as he dashed forward. But before he could pass Haku, a dome of ice quickly surrounded him. As he looked around, he was surrounded by mirrors, a lot of them. Haku quickly slipped into one of them. I am sorry, but you cannot escape this technique. This is where I have to end you. I do not like to kill. So if you will give up right now, I will simply knock you out. And left you here, your teammates will find you soon enough. Will you pick that option? Sorry, I can't do that, Naruto said. I have to take you back. Once we have you, I am sure that Zabuza will stop all of this to come after you. I have seen how indebted you are to him. I am sure he feels the same way about you. As he saw a guiltful look on Haku's face. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Doesn't he care about you like you do for him? As Haku didn't say anything. I am sorry, Naruto-san. I am afraid I will have to break your dream, because I will be ending your life right here. It was then that several copies of Haku came in the mirror around him, as Naruto narrowed his eyes at all of them. All of them then started to toss Senbon needles towards him, at quick and precise pace, as Naruto quickly went down to the ground before putting his 2 fingers on the ground. It was then that 2 massive hands came out of the ground and thrust forward, blowing away all of the Senbon needles. The next thing Haku knew, Naruto flashed in front of the mirror as he smashed right into it. But it was just a copy. As the real Haku narrowed her eyes. I didn't even see him move, she said. Naruto then created a fireball in his hand as he started to toss them around, as they started to smash into the mirrors, making Haku's eyes went wide because the strength behind the fireballs literally blew a hole right in one of them, making the outside world could be seen. As she wondered how strong was this kid. As Naruto landed back on the ground, before Yamato appeared in front of him, as Yamato opened up as he was glowing with the red energy around him. As Haku narrowed her eyes, what the hell is that? Fire pistol, Naruto said. As he extended his arm forward, a strange circle came in front of his arms, with strange markings all over it. As Naruto released it as it floated up in the air for a second. It was then that Haku narrowed her eyes, ready for anything. But she wasn't ready for what would come next, as fireballs exploded out of the strange circle from every direction, smashing into her mirror. As it was going on and on, not even looked like it was going to stop. The real Haku saw tens of fireballs coming towards her mirror. She quickly jumped out of it before it was destroyed. She made the mistake of looking behind her, as she felt the wind current change behind her. It's over, said Naruto. The next thing she knew, it was darkness as she collapsed on the ground, one chop to the back of the neck. As Yamato floated over. You should have made her pay for what she did, almost killing you in the first place, said Yamato. Well, she didn't, Naruto said. And at the time I was really distracted, and she could have aimed for something more vital like my heart. and then I would be really screwed. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I won't let you die that easily, said the Kyuubi. As Naruto smiled, and that is why I love you, he said. Aw, I love you too, she said. Hey, what about me, said Yamato. No one give a damn about you, she said. As Yamato simply sighed and shook his head as he appeared back in the mindscape. You know what? One of these days you're gonna say something really hurtful to me, and then I'm just gonna leave and never come back again. And how exactly are you gonna leave, she said. I mean, you're stuck with Naruto-kun, so tell me, how would you leave, she asked. You know what? As he started to grumble to himself, making her chuckle. And here I thought you'd start to like him, because he got a human body, Naruto said. Well, you're wrong. Because you know as well, he's a book. He might have a human body, but he's a book. And you're just a stupid fox bitch, he said to himself. But because he was connected to Naruto, Naruto could hear. And currently Kyuubi was talking to Naruto, as she could hear clearly as well. What did you just say? She asked, turning around. What are you talking about? Said Yamato. Yamato? You remember that we're connected, right? Naruto asked. Yeah, so what? Before his eyes went wide, as he turned around to see the Kyuubi, her hair was flowing high up in the air, and all her tails were dancing behind her dangerously, as she started to produce a dark, evil aura. As Naruto picked up Haku as he heard a battle going on inside his head, a lot of destruction taking place. As he simply sighed and made his way back, as the ice dome had fallen a long time ago. Meanwhile, along with Zabuza, as he was lying on the bed, Haku had used the herbs on him that she had to heal some of his wounds, but he still had some minor wounds left. But it wasn't anything bad, he could still stand and walk around, but Haku insisted that he stay down and rest for the time being, as she went off to get some new herbs, but he could recover fine on his own. He then heard something, Haku, but he didn't hear any response until he saw a little rabbit jump up. Haku would love these rabbits. She was always taking care of them as her personal pets, as he saw a note in the rabbit mouth before the rabbit placed it down on the bed. Even though he wanted to always use these rabbits for a substitution, Haku used them instead as her pets as he narrowed his eyes. He picked up the note before looking at the rabbit as he started to read it. Zabuza-sama, I'm afraid I have my hands full with the enemy shinobi. I thought he was someone who I could handle, but it seems I can't. If I don't return, that means I fail you, and I'm sorry. As the note ended, as a scowl came on Zabuza's face. By the time Naruto arrived back, it was already night time, as it was already getting late when he was fighting Haku. As he arrived back at the house, as he saw that Sakura was on the ground, looking exhausted as she was leaning up against a tree, as Kakashi had been training the both of them to learn tree climbing, as Sakura has been forced to push herself to her limit because she had rather low chakra reserves. That is why she was so easily able to get up the tree. But since Naruto already had a spell that could do this for him, he didn't need to learn any of these. Sasuke hasn't gone fully up the tree yet, as he still needs some more practice before he can make it perfect. Kakashi-sensei, shouldn't you be go getting Naruto? Sakura asked, as she realized that it was getting rather late. As Kakashi looked up from his book, as Naruto did told him that he would be off, training by himself, because Kakashi did not know what to teach him when it comes towards, well, ninjutsu, because Naruto doesn't really have chakra. And that book really confused Kakashi, so he doesn't know how to really even take a crack at that. But the time was getting late, as he figured he should go and look for Naruto, until they heard rustling in the bushes. As Naruto stepped out, as he turned towards him. Naruto, said Sakura, as she then narrowed her eyes seeing the person on Naruto's shoulder, as Naruto walked over and placed Haku down on the ground. Dope, who is that? Asked Sasuke. Oh, she's a girl that I found for you, Sasuke. She told me that she's madly in love with you. And from saying that, I figured that she was crazy. So I beat her up and knock her out and bring her back here for her execution of loving you. As the others blinked twice at his explanation, before Sakura narrowed her eyes. You're kidding, right? Of course I'm kidding, Naruto said. She was the one who rendered me unconscious. As Kakashi narrowed his eyes. So, she's Zabuza apprentice. Yes, said Naruto. She found me in the forest while I was training. After a bit of talking, and after conversing with Yamato. That boat that you talked to, said Sasuke. Yes, Naruto said. How many times do I have to tell you guys I'm not crazy? As he sighed. Now where was I? Yeah, so Yamato told me that she was the one that attacked me. and I made a comment about Zabuza and I saw the change in her face expression. So I started to talk to her and bring up the fact that you guys already captured Zabuza and probably are going to kill him right now. And it was then she tried to leave. So I stopped her, and we started the battle. And I was able to subdue her and bring her here, said Naruto. Sorry, Kyuubi-chan, Naruto said. It's alright, Naruto-kun, she said. As Naruto couldn't tell them that she was the one who actually told him that this girl was the one that, well, knocked him out. Put him in that death-like state. Because there would be all kind of suspicions, saying that the Kyuubi is trying to control him. As the both of them come to terms with that a long time ago, that he had to keep their relationship, their conversations, a secret for now. As Naruto hadn't heard a peep out of Yamato. What exactly did you do to him, Naruto asked. Who, she said, with a sweet voice. You know who I'm talking about, he said. Actually, I have no clue, she said. Come on, Kyuubi-chan, Naruto said. Fine. You must mean that book. Yes, Naruto said. Well, I currently have him in punishment. Punishment? I haven't heard a peep out of him. Don't tell me that you found a way to kill him, said Naruto. And if I could, I wouldn't kill him, because he needs to suffer first in my torture. Oh, did I say torture? I mean my light punishment. Well, I guess I know not to tick you off. And yes, you better understand that, she said, with a sweet loving voice. Naruto, said Kakashi. Yes, Sensei, Naruto said. He's always out of it, said Sakura. Sometimes I wonder if he's sick in the head or something. Yeah, sick like your flat chest, Naruto said. As Sakura gained a blush of embarrassment before glaring at him. So, what are we gonna do with her, Sakura asked, as she looked down at the ground. Well, she will be great leverage against Zabuza, don't you think, Sensei? Now that we have her, he won't do anything stupid. Because the way she talked about him, she treated him in high regards, and I'm sure that he does the same for her. I suppose you're right about that one. Now, let me check if those wires are tightly bound, so we won't get ourselves caught up in any mess if she tried to escape. Moments later, Haku was all tied up, as Kakashi had placed a seal on her to restrict her chakra so if anything she couldn't escape, as she was currently upstairs in one of the rooms. As the group was currently downstairs, as Naruto had placed a detection spell over the place, if Haku woke up and started to swarm around, he will get alerted. This was one of his few spells that he got out of the book. It wasn't a fighting spell, but it was great for most things, as he could tell when people are entering a room, or where people are coming from once he set the entire place with it, basically seeing their movements, as it came to him in flashes in his mind. As Naruto was currently sitting at the dinner table, along with Tazuna and his family and his team. So, once you tell Zabuza that you have his apprentice there, he won't try to do anything stupid, and he will even lay down his weapon, said Tazuna. Well, that's what we're hoping for, said Kakashi. But, I don't really know, he said. What do you mean, Sensei, Naruto asked. I mean, you should hear the way that girl talk about him. She hold him in such high regards. I don't think that he would betray her in any way possible. And, you know, she's not that bad. What do you mean, dope, Sasuke asked. As Naruto sighed, you know, you can stop calling me dope if you want to ask a question. A dope will always be a dope, Sasuke said. As Naruto simply shook his head. She didn't try to kill me in the first place. And even out there, she was holding back, not trying to kill me. She just wanted to knock me out and make sure that Zabuza is safe. I believe that Zabuza is the evil one here. She seems like a good girl. Well, still, she is an enemy shinobi, said Kakashi. I'm not saying that, said Naruto. I just say that we don't have to treat her so badly. What the hell are you saying, Naruto Baka? Don't let your emotions cloud your head. What if she trick you and just use you to escape? My emotions, Naruto said. You're one to talk. Always fawning over Sasuke, Naruto said to her. As Sakura glared at him. You know I'm right, Naruto said, as she sent a dead glare his way. Besides, once we get rid of Zabuza out of the equation, it will be easy to take down Gato. What's the point? As the entire group turned, as it was Inari, the boy that was talking. As Naruto had seen this boy a few times, but he didn't really talk to him since he came here and woke up in the house. What do you mean, what's the point, Naruto asked. All of you are going to die anyway. Huh? Said Naruto. As Naruto narrowed his eyes at the boy, wondering what he's talking about. You're going to die, that is what I said. Gato has too many men. There is no hope. There is no possible way that you're going to survive this. So, you guys should just head home right now. There is no such thing as hero in this world. And if you stay here, you're going to die. Well kid, I'll prove you wrong, said Naruto. And I'll show you a hero by saving this entire village from Gato. As Naruto remembered what he saw, and that is why he's so intent to save this village. Iniero simply chuckled. You guys don't get it, he said. You guys are from that fancy village where you have a lot of things, a lot of people there. And you can do whatever you want, but out here is different. None of you understand the meaning of suffering, Iniero said Tsunami. As Naruto narrowed his eyes at this boy, you all came here from that fancy village thinking that you know nothing about here. All of you are just going to die. So it's might as well that you just get the hell out of here, he said. Iniero, Tsunami said. But I'm right, Mom. It doesn't make sense to say shut up, said Naruto. As everyone felt the pressure coming from him. Up to this day, Kakashi didn't know what that was, because it wasn't chakra. It wasn't killing intent, it was just something ominous. He felt this before when Naruto passed out, and that red aura started to leak from him. As Naruto clenched his fist tight, the spoon in his hand bending. As he remembered what he saw, flashback. After coming back from guarding Tazuna, as Tsunami wanted to run out and get some supplies, seeing that they have much company right now for them to cook for everyone. So Naruto offered to go instead, as she thanked him for that and told him what she wanted. Naruto was utterly shocked when he got to the place. When he saw the people, kids, they were just young children on the road. As Naruto saw the look on their faces, most of them, the rags that they were wearing, because you couldn't call those clothes, were hanging off of them, as they were in really bad condition. As he walked and looked around the entire place, seeing some of the stores, their goods just rotten. As Naruto couldn't believe it, how the state of this village was. He wasn't awake when he first came here, so he didn't see the place completely, but now, as he made his way to the store, he could barely find enough of what Tsunami wanted, but at least he got some. As most of the goods were starting to get rotten. As he could see that the shop owner was happy to get the small amount of money that he get for his goods. As Naruto saw the shop owner kids, a little girl and a boy, who looked like they were rather hungry despite the situation. As it made Naruto just angry to the point of wanting to kill that bastard Gato. You know, that man Gato is behind all of this. Kid, when you see him, I don't believe that you should let him live. As Yamato was dead serious, looking at the condition of these people, seeing kids like this, suffer in this state, even for himself, it was just difficult to look at. As Naruto clenched his fist and started to walk, he will have to end this soon, to get these people out of the state that you're in, as he's glad that he took this mission and decided to help these people. As he was walking, he felt a tug on his pants, as he looked down at the little girl, as she had her hands out. As seeing her action brought a small tear to Naruto's eye. He reached in the bag that he had as he pulled out the apple and gave it to her. Her eyes went wide. Eat up, he said. All of it, she asked. That broke Naruto's heart even more. Yes, you can take all of it, he said. As she thanked him the bowl before running off. As Naruto walked and saw her, she went around a corner as he saw several more kids there. The girl, one of her friends handed her a small knife before she started to cut the apple up and pass piece to everyone. As she walked over to give an old lady a piece of the apple as well. But the woman shook her head. No, you guys need your strength more. She pleaded with the old lady to take the piece, but the old lady shook her head. No. Eat it, she said. After I looked back in front, the girl was, well, she had to eat it because the old lady insisted, with a stern tone, despite the woman looking really hungry. As Naruto couldn't help the small tear that slipped out of his eye, as he walked away, couldn't look at the scene anymore. That is why he was hoping that his mission would be over soon, because he wanted to free these people as quick as possible. He didn't want to see people like this in this kind of state anymore. End of the flashback. As Iniero was shivering, feeling this strange feeling coming from this boy that he didn't understand, he was scared. You have a mother that cares about you, said Naruto, and a grandfather who's trying to change his place by putting in everything, even risking his life against some dangerous ninjas to make sure that you're safe. But yet still, even with a plate of food in front of you, you complain, saying that we don't know what hard life is. Do you even know what hard life is, boy? Looking at you now, you're just a whiny little bitch that likes to complain, as Naruto slammed his hand on the table. You sit there, eating a good food, with your family, a mother that loves you and takes care of you, and yet people are out there starving, and yet you complain. People are trying to be here to help you, but no, you complain about people not knowing suffering. It's you who don't understand suffering, Naruto said. There are kids out there who are starving along with their parents, but you're here complaining. You little spoil, goddamn ungrateful, Naruto Bakasakura shouted, trying to make him to stop. As he turned towards her, shut the hell up, he shouted at her. As she quickly sat back down, seeing the amount of malice and rage behind his voice. Even Sasuke was surprised. He's never seen Naruto this angry before. As Naruto got out of his seat, as Tsunami got up because she saw that this boy was getting too angry and coming towards her son. I apologize, she said, stopping Naruto in his tracks. Iniri has long since given hope, and we've been trying to make him get it back. Please, don't take your anger out on him. If you want someone to take it out on me, she said, seeing that I haven't found a way to let him get his hope back. As Naruto looked at her, realized what he was doing, he calmed himself. I'm sorry, he said, as he looked at her. As he started to walk away, as he just went upstairs, not saying anything, as the entire room just went quiet before Iniri got up and ran away. Iniri, Tsunami called out, but he ran off. As Tazuna sighed, Tsunami went after Iniri to make sure that he doesn't go too far or get himself in any trouble. As Tazuna lowered his head, I'm sorry for asking, Tazuna-san, said Sakura, but does this have something to do with that man in that picture over there? As Tazuna looked over the picture frame, yeah, he said, as he started to tell them why Iniri was this way now. Time skip. Haku slowly opened her eyes. The last thing she quickly snapped her eyes open and she tried to get up, but she found it very difficult as she could barely move. Her body was trapped by something as she didn't know what it was. As she looked down to see that it was wire, ninja wire, and not to mention there was a seal on her chest. A seal, and she couldn't feel any of her chakra. As she quickly came to the conclusion, she failed. She failed Zabuza-sama. How could she ever show her face to him again with what she has done? She failed to be there and protect her precious person. What has she done? As guilt started to set into her heart, realized that she failed, as she now remembered fighting that boy and the incredible strength, speed, and power he showed during their battle. As she could barely land a hit on him, he utterly destroyed her before she could even do anything. As she just slumped down there, she then heard the door slowly opening in front of her. She looked up to see that same boy. As he looked at her with a small smile, "So, you're finally awake," he said. "Why did you leave me alive?" she asked. "Oh, I get it," she said. "You want to use me as leverage to weed out Zabuza-sama." As Naruto said nothing. "Well, if you are, you're just wasting your time," she said. "I am merely a tool." As Naruto stood there not saying anything, "Zabuza-sama only sees me as a tool, and rightfully so. I am the one that is in charge of using my life to protect his at any cost. But now that I have failed, I am nothing more than a broken tool. If I may ask you, could you go ahead and kill me?" Haku asked. As Naruto walked over, not saying anything, he then had a seat, leaning his back against the wall, before placing down the bowl that he had. He then removed the lid of the bowl, as Haku then smelled it, as it was soup. As she looked at it, teriyaki soup. She hadn't eaten for some time now, as she was rather hungry, but she wouldn't tell him that. As she wondered why was he talking, she was captured. As he had her to his mercy, he could torture her, do anything that he liked with her. As a thing that she has seen when she and Zabuza was on the road, things that young girls went through, when they got captured. If it was going to come up to that, she wished that she would have just been killed. Because those things were just dreadful. That is why she acted like a boy. To keep prying eyes off of her. You must be hungry, Naruto said, completely ignoring what she said earlier. As she narrowed her eyes at him, she closed her mouth. What? I already have you captured. Why would I poison you, he said. As that was right. Why would he poison her? I'm not hungry, she said. But she then blushed in embarrassment as her stomach rumbled. I guess you are, Naruto said. She narrowed her eyes. What was up with this kid? Why was he laughing? Why was he talking to her in this manner? She was the enemy. As he reached for the spoon and dipped it. As he picked up small chunks that were in the soup and some of the soup and spoon as well. Say he said. Haku refused to eat. As she turned her head, as her stomach then grumbled again, making her to chuckle. That's not funny, she said. Well, it is from my perspective, Naruto said. Come on, open up. As Haku narrowed her eyes at him. Why are you doing this? I am your enemy. Well, if you are my enemy, if you're tired and unable to speak, what good would you be to me then? Oh, I see now. You want me to have my energy to use me, she said. Naruto simply sighed as he shook his head. Just open up. As Haku, just open her mouth. She failed anyway. It doesn't make sense. What's going to happen after this? As he placed some of the liquid in her mouth. As it went down her throat. As she had to say it was nice. As he started to feed her. Until the entire thing was done. Want more, Naruto asked. No, she said. Still hard, said Naruto. What do you want, she asked. Nothing, he said. As he leaned back. Was this some kind of psychological trick, she wondered to herself. What was he doing? What was he trying to accomplish? As she narrowed her eyes. You know, you're not a tool. And trust me, for you to care about someone so much, and for them not to give a crap about you, I don't believe that. I'm sure that he will come for you. And this is where that you can make a change. To keep the both of you alive. You want Zabuza to live, right? Of course I do, she said, finally answering him. Well, as you can see, my sensei is Kakashi Hatake. You know how dangerous he is, right? Yes, the copy ninja. If me and Sasuke help him in this battle, you already seen what I can do. Do you think that Zabuza can win? As Haku looked down in shame, knowing that Zabuza wouldn't survive, especially after she saw what he can do, and not to mention the others, she didn't even see what they can do yet. So, when he does return, you will be coming. And I want you to plead with him. To try and convince him to leave this place. Because if he don't, he will die. And what about me, she said. Won't you allow me to die as well? Allow you? No, I won't, Naruto said. Because it seems like your head is all messed up. What do you mean by that? I mean, you have to be crazy, right? Thinking of yourself as a tool. I mean, people are loyal to people, but not in this extent. Yes, they will give their life for their loved ones and their precious ones, but you see yourself as an object to be used. And that's quite stupid. How can you be so dumb? Are you retarded or something, Naruto asked? As Haku was taken aback by that statement from him. Why was he so angry about this now? Why do you care, she asked. Because you're a dumbass, Naruto said. If it was up to me, I would slap some senses into you. But it's not. As Haku narrowed her eyes at him, what do you want? Why are you acting this way? Why did you give me food? I'm your prisoner, you shouldn't care about me. Because I'm not that kind of guy. I might come to hate some people. People who are truly evil. But you're far from that. That day, when I was fighting Zabuza, you could have aimed for my heart. But no, you knocked me out. I saw how you were fighting at first. When you didn't know what I was capable of, you were moving rather slow, not showing your true speed. You didn't want to kill me. But you wanted to make sure that Zabuza was alright. So you would do anything for him. That was the only time when you thought that you could kill me. And I'm not going to waste your life on that. Because you're stupid. As she glared at him. Yeah, glare all you want, but you're stupid. And stupid as hell. thinking of yourself as a tool. Huh, stupid idiot, he said. I am a tool. I am a tool that is needed to be used by Zabuza-sama, and nothing more. My life has no meaning besides protecting him and make sure all of his wish are fulfilled. So what you're saying right now, I'm not concerned or caring about what you're saying, because the only purpose for me to stay living is being a tool. Shut up, said Naruto. As he then went quiet, Haku just glaring at him as the both of them sit there. As the silence became too uncomfortable for Haku. Why aren't you saying anything, she said, as he was just looking at her and not saying a single word. I'm just trying to figure out. Why are you so stupid, he said, as her eyebrow twitched at that. This boy was really starting to tick her off, and it was making her rather angry. If she wasn't buying, she'd feel like she just wanted to slap him. As she sighed to herself, yet she was stuck and she couldn't do anything. But this boy, he was just getting on her nerves. Time skip. 3 days later. It has been 3 days now since she has been captured. And for the past 3 days, he has been bringing her the entire time on the bridge. The group was currently going towards the bridge right now as he was on her shoulder. She refused at the first time, said that she could walk even though her hands were bound, and there was also the seal on her, so it would be hard for her to do anything before they kill her. But still, he simply picked her up and threw her over his shoulder. The amount of squirming and kicking that she tried to do, it didn't really help much. So she was just going with the flow. As the 3 days Zabuza did not come at all, as she knew he was still injured, but she had a feeling that he will come today. Her thoughts were conflicted because the 3 days he has been talking non-stop, and he just kept on saying these things that really pissed her off, but make her think as well. But she will still protect Zabuza with all that she got. But if she died, she wouldn't be at a use for him. She has to stay alive, and be there for Zabuza to make sure he was alright. As she hadn't talked to the others except for the sensei, when he was asking her information. She refused. She thought that he was going to torture her, or one of them was going to do it, but they didn't. As she found them to be quite strange, not doing bad things to get what they wanted. She was confused as hell about that, because if it was Zabuza, he would have already removed one of the person's limbs already, forcing them to talk. But these ninjas, they haven't done anything bad to her the entire time. As she thought to herself, if she got the opportunity, could she kill him? As she narrowed her eyes, as she was currently over his shoulder, she wondered if she could really kill him. Meanwhile, back at the house, as Nami was currently outside, as she got up off the dock, as she was currently going back inside until a kunai landed right in front of her. I suggest you don't move. As she was then grabbed around the waist, as a sword was placed at her throat, shocking her. As she looked over to see another one, as she gulped. As, to think about it, they never thought about the situation of the bandits coming here. She and Iniri could be used for her father to stop building the bridge. Her eyes went wide. Iniri. Mom, I'm finished. Iniri says he came outside. The words died in his throat. Huh, there's a kid. Go get him. Iniri looked at the man that was walking towards him. Stay right there, brat. Let go of my mother, Iniri cried out, as he rushed forward, his instinct just kicking in. No, Iniri, run! The man simply smiled as he pulled his blade. Well, we only need one, right? Yeah, the other bandit said. Well then, I'll take care of this kid. As Iniri rushed forward, Iniri leaped forward, his fist extended outwards, as his eyes were closed. But he didn't feel anything, he didn't punch anything. As he slowly opened his eyes to see, the man was underground, his face embedded into the dock. As he saw Naruto, as Naruto grabbed the man's face once more and smashed it into the dock hard, knocking him out. As the other bandit placed the sword right at Nami's throat. I don't know who the hell you are, but I suggest you get the hell out of here before I kill her. A blue substance attached to the blade of the sword and pull it, as it was caught by another Naruto, as his entire arm had turned into a blue goo before returning back to normal as he tossed his sword in the water. It was then the bandit's waist was grabbed roughly by a hand, a giant hand that started squeezing before the hand lifted him up and knocked his head down into the ground, knocking him out cold. Another hand then came out and grabbed the other bandit, as the hands then started to melt before turning into hard stone, trapping them. How are you here? Said Inari. He hasn't talked to Naruto since what happened. and he was still a bit scared. Well, I knew that sometime this might happen, and I already went over it with Kakashi Sensei. So the original left 2 of us behind to make sure that you guys are okay. The original? You don't have to worry about that. But, can't you see, Inari? You are going to risk your life, rushing towards danger to stand up for your mom. If that is not what heroes do, then I don't know what is. So, why don't you go and stay with your mother? Because this is going to be ending very soon. As Inari narrowed his eyes. Really? As the clone nodded. Meanwhile, when the group got to the bridge, what the hell happened, Sasuke said. As Zabuza rushed over Kaido, he said, as the man was out cold, he's just unconscious. As all the workers were out cold. As a thick mist started to surround the bridge. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. So you're finally here, said Kakashi. Well, I needed some time, said Zabuza. As he stepped forward, Zabuza-sama said Haku, Haku, you really went and got yourself captured? As Haku lowered her head in shame. Yeah, she did. I suggest you give up. We have your precious person right here. And I know that you want her. Zabuza started to laugh. My precious person? Haku was no more than a tool to me. And she know that herself. So, I think that you got your case all mixed up, kid. What are you talking about, said Naruto. As I said, Haku was no more than a tool to me. Sure, purpose in life was to serve me and die for me if needs be. So do what you want. I'm still gonna slice all of you down. How can you be so cold, Sakura shouted. She would do anything for you. Just by seeing the way that she acted, she would risk her life, but yet, you will cast her aside so quickly. As Zabuza simply chuckled. You don't understand anything this ninja war, little girl. I suggest you keep your mouth shut. As Sasuke narrowed his eyes, this man was the definition of cold. He saw how that girl reacted as he was listening in on the blonde's conversation with her. She would risk her life any of the time to protect her precious Zabuza, but yet still this man treated her like garbage. As Sasuke found that rather confusing, as Haku had a sad look on her face. After hearing what the blonde had to say over the couple of 3 days, she came to the shocking conclusion that Zabuza see her as a tool and a tool only. Never someone precious, even though she see him as precious. Even though she didn't care at first, after hearing this blonde and his non-stop talking, it was just hard to hear it now. As a tear slipped from Haku's eye and hit the bridge. As Naruto saw it, he then walked over to the side and rested Haku against the support beam. As Haku narrowed her eyes, it was then that she saw the look in the boy's eyes. He was angry. Very angry. Was it because of her, she wondered? That means he's gonna try and... Zabuza-sama, you must get out of here! Huh? And why should I do that, said Zabuza. I'll cut each and every one of them down. Zabuza-sama, you don't understand. You need to run. As Kakashi narrowed his eyes at Naruto. Naruto, calm down. You can't just rush in blind like that. But Naruto's entire hand got enveloped in flames. This time, they didn't stick to his palm alone. They went straight up to his shoulders, his hands licking with flames, making Kazuna and Sakura and Sasuke step back because of the intense heat they felt coming from him. As Naruto locked eyes with Zabuza. After all that she's done for you, how much she care about you. You dare say that about her. As Zabuza simply chuckled. Don't think that your light show is gonna do anything to me, brat. You think that you know anything. Well, why don't you come and try to test the waters, and we will see who falls first. Last time you caught me off guard because of your strange skills, but this time, I won't even give you the chance. The ground exploded because of Naruto moving off with incredible speed. As Zabuza blinked in shock when Kid appeared in front of him, his fist already reared back. But guys, and be any episode right here. For the next part, if you know to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn bell notifications, stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But for now, I'm out here. See you guys soon. Peace.